and Cheetah Crown.
All right, Cheetah, let's start with you. What's happening with Nicholas right now?
Right now, the center of circulation is basically sitting over the city. That's the really impressive part about this. Max sustained winds at 60 miles per hour. This is going to continue to move in that easterly direction around 8 miles per hour, and that will shift the biggest threat for rain and wind towards the Louisiana coast there. And it's going to almost impact the entire state of Louisiana through the afternoon and evening tonight. So live look outside in Galveston. I show you this shot because I really think it sets the stage the best. We're still seeing some scattered showers out there. We're still seeing some really breezy to even gusty conditions. And notice this elevated surf. So it's really, really choppy out there. So still a lot to deal with. Messy conditions out the door this morning. If you don't have to get out in it, just don't. Take a look. Galveston
Without power, but there is some good news to report. Well, we're close, all told, to nearly 500,000 customers without power, but there is some good news to report. Well, we're close, all told, to nearly 500,000 customers without power, but there is some good news to report. Just got word from CenterPoint that crews have begun the damage assessment process as well as the restoration process. They're waiting on two things. Daybreak for one, and then two, for those dangerous winds to move on out of the area so they can get their crews in. Here's the real-time outage map. You can see a bunch of triangles in the area. The yellow is about 10 customers out. The dark red is about more than 300 customers out. But for perspective, we're only talking 19% of CenterPoint customers out of power. So while it's bad, it could have been a whole lot worse. Let's now move up to the north. This is Entergy's coverage area. And again, they're faring better because they didn't sustain as many winds. They're protected by that land up in Montgomery County. The rough total of power outages here, 10% of people out in the Entergy service area. So up north in Montgomery County, you all are faring much better. Let's now go to Texas, New Mexico Power, which is down in Brazoria as well as Galveston County. And the situation there, they serve about 130,000 customers in the TNMP area. And at last check, we're talking about 34% of customers out in that area. The good news is when you click on this map, they're actually giving restoration times. Most of those, Kimberly and Steph, are within the next 12 hours. So
The families do not have electricity this morning because of the storm. This morning, thousands of families do not have electricity this morning because of the storm.
Yeah, we've got the CenterPoint outage tracker there for you. We've been following it all night long. The outage count right now is a little above 350,000 in the dark. Amy Davis live in Pasadena this morning to show us how communities there are faring. Amy?
Yeah, guys, good morning. We are live now in the Skylark Terrace neighborhood near Wedgwood. We're off of Allen Genoa and Queen Street, and what we can tell you, it is very windy and it is very dark. Those numbers now, you said about 362,000 people without power. That number is quickly going up. When we checked the CenterPoint outage tracker this morning at about 2 a.m., 2:15 a.m., it was around 190,000. And so every 15 minutes, we're seeing CenterPoint adding between 15 and 20,000 more customers without power. And I haven't been able to reach anyone at CenterPoint this morning, but we can only believe that it's these strong winds. We stopped by a fire station here in Pasadena, Fire Station 4, and they said that they're not getting a lot of emergency calls. They are getting some calls about lines down, but they're seeing a lot of it on the south side near Red Bluff, NASA Road 1, and Kirby. They said there was a big line down. And I said, well, what do you guys do in those situations? And they said, well, we basically just go out to the scene and say, yep, there's a line down, and we call CenterPoint to have them come out and take care of the situation. But so far, no major emergency issues here. A lot of people seem to be staying off the roads. We have not seen any flooding in this area, and those firefighters over at Fire Station 4, they're right by Vince Bayou, and they said that this area is prone to flooding. When they get a lot of rain, they said they almost had water come into the fire station during Hurricane Harvey, but they didn't. They're not seeing anything like that right now. So here now in this area,
now, this guy's a Christian, see, God forgive him, he's going to put up that Mr. J bullshit. We don't believe in that. That's on him. We'll listen to what he has to say as far as this goes, though.
Texans without power as Nicholas threatens Louisiana with flooding. This is not good news, especially for Louisiana. Certain parts out there still in blackouts due to the last hurricane that struck that area. So we are seeing a huge event taking place in Texas. 500,000 Texans without power. That is huge. So we have all the information, and I will read this article, take it straight towards to National Hurricane Center. We're going to see what's going on there too. But we need to pray for a lot of people in Texas and people in Louisiana. And we have seen a lot of storms just building up near this area. You know what? Let me take you to the National Hurricane Center and see where this storm is at right now. And it's making landfall. Man, there's multiple storms. Okay, so here we go. Nicholas, right? Right now, Nicholas is 45 miles per hour. It is not a hurricane, but it is a strong storm that is bringing in storm surge, floods, and so many other stuff. So we are praying for many people out there in Texas, and it's moving 6 miles per hour. That is massive slow, and that could be dangerous because it's basically it's standing in one spot, right? And it's bringing all this water and is causing a lot of damage. And that's why 500,000 Texans are without power. Now, I want to zoom this just a little bit because there is multiple storms that is building up, and this is not good. All right, so let me see what's going on in this one. So this is still early, guys. It's still early. If this start forming, it's going to head up north. But this one here, we got to keep an eye on this one, which is a chance of a cyclone formation in 48 hours. Disturbance number 1. So we got to keep an eye on this one here. But right now, let's concentrate on Nicholas and see what's going on in this one. But before I start, give this video a big thumbs up. Share this video with your friends, families, and loved ones. I appreciate the love and support. And for those of you that want to contribute to the channel, once again, the Patreon. Actually, in the last 24 hours. Those links will be in the comments box along with this article. All right, so the roaring or tossing of the sea is rising. So, one thing I tell you guys, Florida is very lucky. Look, I gotta say, man, the state of Florida hasn't gotten hit by a hurricane. Yeah, there was one that happened this year, but that wasn't even a hurricane. That thing broke in two. All right, and it wasn't a hurricane to begin with. I believe so. So Florida usually get hit with 1 or 2 hurricanes every year, but we haven't gotten a hurricane in 3 years. I think the last time was Hurricane Irma. So other than that, we should be giving thanks to the Lord, but here in Louisiana, New Orleans, and Alabama, and certain parts of Texas, they're getting hit
that name. That
like
name
crazy.
Is the devil.
All right, so here we go. Nicholas intensified into a Category 1 hurricane early this morning. So it lost a lot of strength, I'll tell you that, because it's 45 miles per hour. So early this morning, before making landfall southwest of Galveston, Texas, the storm has been downgraded to a tropical storm with maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour as it slowly traversed the greater Houston area. So I already took you to the National Hurricane Center, and you guys saw that it just dropped really quick. Making landfall, that's what happens. Okay, so much of Texas coastline is under tropical storm warning, and metro area like Houston could be prone to flash floods. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said first responders are in the Houston area and along the coast. So please be ready, prepare spiritually, physically, and mentally. Meteorologist Kent of the National Weather Service told Associated Press News that Nicholas had downed trees in the southeast part of the states. There are a 500,000 customers without power as of 11:13 a.m. Eastern Time. That is huge. That is huge. I mean, this was a Category 1, and it did that much damage. Widespread rainfall of 5 to 10 inches is expected across southeast Texas. Some isolated areas could receive up to 18 inches. So that's the big problem here, guys. The storm surge, the massive flood, and we have seen throughout the last couple of months all these floods that's been striking in various places around the world. It's like Jesus says, the roaring tossing of the sea.
Oh boy.
And that's what we are witnessing right now.
Don't fall for that. That's their hijack all the way through. Heavy body. Know by now. Mr. J is the devil. No doubt about it.
An emerging threat is the storm tracking to southeastern Louisiana. Man, Louisiana is going through so much problems now. So mainly west of New Orleans, where soils had yet to recover from Hurricane Ida a few weeks ago, which may result in flash flooding if torrential rains are seen. So here's the latest information, the updated forecast for Nicholas. More on Nicholas can be found on free KW Texas weather app or from the National Hurricane Center. I'm not going to play this, guys, due to copy strikes. I'm not trying to get hit really hard. All right. Let me zoom this one in. Soils have not yet recovered from Hurricane Ida and a couple of weeks ago in eastern Louisiana. Now, once again, guys, the farmlands are flooded. Soybeans and corns and all that. Everything is being destroyed when it comes to food, when it comes to crops. If it's not the wildfire, it's the floods. So we are seeing a huge impact on the farmlands. All right, so these areas are currently receiving heavy rainfall, which is expected to continue. Priming soils for flooding. And Vermont, Port Arthur, Lake Charles can be particularly sensitive to flash flooding, thus the high risk. Hurricane Nicholas made landfall early Tuesday. So we're going to skip some of this, guys, because this here is basically old news. But when it hit, it was a Category 1. When it hit, it was a Category 1. And it was going 70 miles per hour. Now it says here, give me a second, Category 1, but since been downgraded to a tropical storm with maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour. Look at this, oil refiners, chemical makers, grain exporters, and even multiple nuclear power plants are in its path. Ahead of Nicholas' arrival, 2 major oil exports terminals either suspended or restricted vessels traffic. Port Authority in Corpus Christi halted inbound sailing. Ports in Houston and other surrounding area restricted vessels traffic. Preparation for the storm included oil companies evacuated offshore oil gas platforms and hunkering down land-based operation. What's on our radar this morning is a storm passing over the nuclear power plants or power station southwest of Bay City, Texas, about 90 miles southwest of Houston. The 12,200-acre site is home to South Texas Project Electric Generating Station. The storm is forecasted to arrive in the oil and gas-heavy Houston by early afternoon. At the moment, about 340,000 customers are without power in southeast Texas. And that's the area right there. So the storm impacts and energy outages could be problematic for the sea hotspots. Nicholas emerged on our radar last Friday as a tropical wave over Honduras, the western Caribbean Sea, and has since organized and strengthened into a hurricane and now downgraded to a tropical storm. The National Hurricane Center expects storm surge of 2 to 5 feet and up to 18 inches of rain in some areas. over southeast Texas. Some of these areas are crammed with industrial facilities, and even coastal neighborhoods could be prone to flooding. Excuse me, guys. So one of the areas to watch for flooding is Houston. Houston is in the crosshair. Steve, a senior meteorologist with Maxar, noting the precipitation poses a bigger threat than wind. So the storm's timing is precautious for the oil gas industry that has been crushed by Hurricane Ida. And the thing that worries me is not worry me, but it's Louisiana that is trying to recover, and people are still in the dark, from what I heard. And some people still in the dark haven't recovered. So just imagine waking up and there's more water just coming towards your area. So hitting neighboring Louisiana 2 weeks ago, oil refining and offshore drilling had been paralyzed in the wake of the storm. Making matters worse, Nicholas could make its way to Louisiana by early Wednesday into late Thursday. Currently, 44% of the U.S. Gulf crude production is offline, while 52% of the region gas output is down. This has put a bid under nat gas and crude prices. So there you go. Look at that. Ida went up. You guys already know. I talked about this. But now Nicholas is going to basically double it. So in another word, gas prices could skyrocket. It could skyrocket. Look, guys. I went to 10 different states, right? You wouldn't believe the gas prices up north. You wouldn't believe it. It's like $3.50 a gallon, or $3.40, $3.50. And it took a chunk of my wallet, man. It's what, 55 or 60 bucks to fill up my van. And then when I reached to South Carolina, it went down to like 45 to fill up the van. So this pipeline is being shared in the north and eastern part.
And it's going to get worse, because I remember times that the north and the east coast, gas is up to $4 to $5 a gallon, $4.99, $3.99 a gallon.
All over the east coast. But this here is going to make it a lot worse. Gas prices, probably in New Jersey or Connecticut or Maryland or DC area, is going to hit probably $3.80 a gallon, which that's what the 4.6 wants. So investors were worried that Nicholas would cause further disruption in the Gulf Coast at a time when they were trying to figure out how long crude output would stay affected from Ida. Now, the International Energy Agency said losses from Hurricane Ida have wiped out increases from OPEC+. The organization said additional supplies would come online in October. All right, so these storms are hitting hard. But if you think about it, it's hitting more of the nat gas and oil and the gas, and gas and all that. So basically, it's causing an economic crisis here of gas prices rising and just taking a huge chunk of people's wallets. At the very end, it seems like people are the one that's getting punished for it. They should not be raising all these type of stuff. They should have insurance. That's what insurance is for.